especially as a female, you're like, I don't want to go too far off of how I'm supposed to look, quote
That's
unquote.
what I mean.
But
I could see that being a little bit of pressure there. Like, I want to eat this cheeseburger, but hey, I don't know. I'm coaching somebody. Dennis, what do you want to tell our viewers?
Yeah. Go like, comment, and subscribe.
Welcome back to Between the Fields. We're your hosts, Ramin. This is Dennis.
What's going on?
Where we bring you tips, advice, and inspiration from collegiate athletes who bring their sports experience and training into their professional world. We are joined here today.
Yeah, today we're here with FAU cross country and track runner. She's currently the owner of Tuneintofitness, Miss Annie Cooper. Welcome.
Welcome.
ooh, thank you for having me.
No problem, Annie. Just give us a quick rundown as far as what you do today.
Oh gosh, a couple of different things. So I started a health and fitness coaching business, which I developed an app for and in person. So in South Florida area, and I developed an application where it's nutrition coaching and personal training. I do some fitness modeling through a brand, Wilhelmina. So I'll, model for brands like Lululemon and Nike and, different athletic brands. I've done some acting. I have a podcast of my own that I've, started,
Okay.
I guess like 5 or 6 years ago. And I developed a fitness equipment business called Fitcessory about 4 years ago. So I have, yoga mats, resistance bands, foam rollers. So they're in GNC and Walmart. And then I just started doing private equity. So I took on a finance role about a month ago. So it's been very busy these days.
That's very cool.
Now, is that what you majored in college? Was it finance, or was that just completely unrelated?
No, it was actually sports broadcasting. I wanted to be a sports broadcaster.
Oh, no way.
And that's why I started the podcast, is because I was like, how can I do this and not have it be a full-time career, but I can still have it be a passion. So
that's incredible. Like, you're the definition of entrepreneur, getting into every little niche out there as far as health and fitness goes.
Yeah.
So, Andy, we know that you went to FAU, and we know that you did track and field. Did you know that that's what you wanted to do? Did you know you wanted to be like a collegiate athlete, like coming out of high school?
Yeah, so the first 1 or 2 years in high school, I feel like I was into the gym and into fitness, but the running was kind of like a joke to me until my dad started coaching me. So my dad was a track and field runner in college, and he would kind of give me tips on like, if you want to get better, you could do this. And then the coach at my high school was actually leaving, and he was like, well, this is a perfect opportunity for me to be a coach and to also spend more time with you. So he took over the head coaching position in high school. And then I had no other choice but to really give it my full effort because I was living with my coach. So the last 2 years I took it seriously because I kind of was like, okay, do I want to really focus on this and have this be something I'm doing in the future? Or do I want to just like work out for fun? But I needed a goal in mind. So I did want to run a specific time. And when I was in my senior year, I started kind of like reaching out to colleges, and I was like, what time do I need to run to even be like eligible to be on your team? And I had them all right back with like almost the same time. And I was like, okay, I'm going to hit this time in high school. And it was like the second to last meet of the season. And I ran that exact time.
I got to ask, what was that time?
Told me I needed to run. It was like 2:15 in the 800. That was my event.
Oh my God.
And they were like, you have to run this time to be like eligible to be on our team. And so I just started emailing them back. I'm like, I ran the time, and then I had options, and I'm like, okay, now I have to make this happen.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like maybe like my final form, but that was your high school form. Nice.
But now it's crazy. Like women are running like 1:55 in the 800. Like their times are just insane.
Do you feel like you could still hit that 2:15 800 meter?
Oh.
If I trained really hard for a year, yes.
For a year? Okay.
Next weekend we go out to the track. We all put money down.
Yeah, we'll do a little, maybe 100 meter. We could have a chance, maybe. You
definitely could beat me in 100, yeah.
I don't know.
So you chose track, so you kind of knew that that's what you wanted to do going into college, did you play, I'm just curious, did you play any other sports or anything like that? Or you just like, hey, I knew I wanted to do track because of the situation, like your
Of
dad
her
was your
dad.
coach? Yeah.
Yeah, I did. And relating it to entrepreneurship, I kind of like threw myself at a bunch of things and I was like, which one am I the best at and what's sticking? And so I did, volleyball, softball, tennis. I did cheerleading for like 10 years and gymnastics. And that was kind of my main thing. And I had to make the choice of do I want to be a runner or do I want to do the cheerleading and gymnastics? And I felt like running was more, it gave me more like longevity, I guess. So I wanted to focus on that a little bit more because cheerleading and gymnastics, you really have a cutoff point. But I felt like running, I could compete in races for a very long time. So I chose that. But yes, I did a bunch of sports.
And that's what I was gonna say. I feel like track runners are a little bit more dynamic and like they could potentially be athletes in like
Any sport, really.
yeah, maybe football or maybe they're yeah. So that's why I was just curious. Okay, cool. Um,
I have a question. What's your outlook on running itself? Because I know a lot of sports out there when it comes to running itself, like just the form, just plain simple running, they hate it.
Most people,
Oh, I know, I hate
like you're
running.
saying, most people hate running. I think most, yeah, but I think because it's hard. I think
Oh, it's
when you
very
become a
hard.
better runner and you're like, I'm actually fast and it feels good because you're better at it, you start to enjoy it more. And I think sprinting is like one of the best workouts you can do. Going for runs, it clears your head. I like how you can do it when you're traveling. You can just like, or really anywhere
That's
you are.
true.
Like you can get up
Yeah.
in a run and go on a run. I can explore different places. It clears your head. It makes you feel good. Um, and it's a great workout. You burn a lot of
Yeah,
calories. You sweat. I love that aspect.
it's one of those workouts where you don't need any equipment other than, 2 feet.
yeah, there you go, right?
Exactly.
So like as a track and well, I guess yeah, track and field star in college, right? What was or being a student athlete, what was like something that you learned as a student athlete that like you still utilize today? Like what is one of the biggest takeaways as a student athlete that you kind of apply into your current, I guess jobs that you have right now?
Definitely like doing things no matter how you feel. Like you can't just cancel things and be like, okay, I'm not going to do this. I don't feel good. You have to make it happen no matter how tired you are, how sore you are. And you're really pushing your body to the limit. I mean, other athletes can relate, but when you're really like when you're on a collegiate team, especially, like to be on that team and have that standing, you have to really prove yourself and you have to really try your absolute hardest in practice, at the meets, at the races. And no matter how you feel, like you're in class in the morning, you're, out with friends or whatever the case is, you still have to make it to practice and you have to do a good job at that. So it makes it kind of stressful sometimes, but it's helped a ton just in, work related things and just in life itself, like doing things even when you don't want to.
Yeah, how did you find it easy to like kind of like manage a social life, then studying and then, also putting in time for trainings and all of that? Like, did you find that easy or like were there any
Oh,
tools you used to kind of like manage your time?
tools I use. Oh my God, like hangover cure drinks, hydration drinks. I feel like in college it was easy because you have energy and you're really just focused on like going to class, doing decent, and then doing your sport, and then you can hang out with friends. But now when you're trying to create a business and you're making money, you're also trying to work out and have a social life. It's so much on top of what you already have to do in the day that it's very difficult, like post college or if you start a business or you start working. But yeah, the first 2 years in college, I was having the best time. It's like, this is great.
Yeah,
Oh,
I kind of wanted to lead up to like, did you know coming into college, like even from high school or even when you're in college, what you wanted to do when you graduated? Did you have like an idea as far as when I graduate, I'm gonna do this?
yeah,
I had no
was
idea.
there any way that you knew you were gonna do what you're doing right now?
No, and how it actually happened was like I got super into lifting weights because I was researching like how do I become a faster runner, and I got super into going to the gym and lifting and eating really well. And then I think it was my junior year of college. I walked into a gym and there was an owner of like this small personal training company in there, and he's like, I have, very high end clients and I need someone to help, train people. Do you have any experience? And I was like, no. I was like, I don't think I have that much time for a job either. And he was like, well, I'll pay you, $50 an hour, which was crazy in college, a little
Yeah.
job.
You
And he
said
was like, you can
50?
work it around. Yeah. And he was
Oh
like, you
my
can work around
I made 500 for
It's like
like
you
a
can
2-week camp, a 2-week soccer camp. I
Yeah.
made $500, so okay, that's awesome.
it was like a no-brainer. He's like, you can do it at 6 a.m. or at like people are training all day, so you can do it around, whatever your schedule is. Like, I'll teach you everything you need to know and, try it out. And I was like, okay, sounds good. It's like first job.
So kind of like right away. I mean, I'm just saying right there. So you were literally in school. You were going to do. I'm assuming that you were still training for track, and then you were also doing weightlifting like as a job as well, in that early in the morning.
Yeah, it was a lot. Like sometimes I would train people at like 5 to 6 a.m., go to practice at 6:30,
Yeah,
Oh
go
because
to
wow.
class, go back and train. Like it was,
we saw cross country running around the fields when we were walking out to the
I think
fields.
I think like before our 6 a.m.s. I don't know if that's correct. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened, but yeah, before our
oh,
6
the
a.m.s cross.
overachievers at that time. Yeah. Some people
Oh,
Yeah.
so
would
that
get up
wasn't
and
even
like do extra
practice.
miles.
That's crazy. Wow.
Um.
Yeah, we were
So
like, stop. Don't.
Andy, what was something I mean, like that you struggled with, like, or an obstacle that you struggled with, whether it was on the track or whether it was just like personally or struggled with like in the classroom that you kind of like were exposed to then, but that you still come across today, like with what you're currently doing. Do you feel like would you be able to identify what that was or like in how you kind of managed
Yeah.
that obstacle?
Yeah, I think it's like trying to fit too much in and just like try to overachieve in a way when you don't need to do that. And I kept getting sick. Like constantly had the flu. I had mono. I had like all these sicknesses constantly. And I was overtraining where I kept getting stress fractures in
Oh
my
wow.
shin when I was running. So I kept being out of the season because I was, doing too much, not eating enough, not sleeping, um, not taking care of myself. And it's hard to now in like entrepreneurship and in business because there's always a task that you have to do. Your to-do list never ends. You're always like, I need to do this and get ahead. And it's hard to feel like you're doing enough without overworking yourself. So taking the time to like get enough sleep and cut things off when you need to and not do more than you actually need to do. I think that's one thing that definitely I can relate to now.
And then like yeah, I guess how do you draw the line on that? Like how do you know when you've done enough or when you haven't done enough? Is it just like, hey, I start getting sick or I get run down? Is that kind of like that, you know, I guess that
Yeah.
measurement that you use?
Like I still haven't learned. Like I still don't remember. I always cut it off.
I
Like
I was
I
sick
try to have a
yesterday.
little. No, seriously. Like yeah, it's not good. But I try to take naps in the afternoon, which some people are against this, but I feel like
Low
it
T
helps so
naps.
much. Like a
Nothing
30-minute
wrong.
nap.
Nothing wrong with a low T. Well, I mean, we call them low T
Low
naps
T naps.
because like I think we started doing that in the afternoon
I don't
and
know where we got it from. I still
but
enjoy myself a nice
but
30-minute nap.
you know what? It's a recharge. Um,
Yeah.
y-
And then just listening to your body. Like I think you can tell when you're like exhausted. And instead of pushing through that exhaustion, you just like cut it off. And you're like, wait, I need to chill, relax,
Yeah.
and I'll get to everything else tomorrow.
I don't know if this is relatable. I mean, you just said like you had a lot of like things going on, like like hey, you try and do overachieve or you just try and do everything and you kind of end up wearing your body down, but like it kind of creates this like anxiety of like, hey, let me do this, try to create as many opportunities for yourself as possible. And then it like, you kind of yeah, you just end up wearing yourself down. I don't know if it's relatable or
Mhm.
not, but yeah. Um,
Yeah.
was it what I guess my next question is, was it easy for you to transition out of a singular, I guess, type of track sport into your, I guess, career today that's almost like, hey, it's entrepreneur, it's kind of you doing it. Was that an easy transition for you? Or do you feel like or like you already had like experience with this because you were a track runner kind of operating alone?
Yeah, I think like definitely as a single sport, like when you're not, I mean, you're still doing it as a team, but when you're a runner, yes, you're running your own times, your own race, all of that. It's the same thing definitely in entrepreneurship when starting your business, your own business. Because at first you don't have a team. You like most of the time you're not making money yet when you're starting something new to hire a team, unless obviously like if you're raising funding, of course, maybe a little bit different. But most of
Hmm.
the time you have an idea, you start on your own, and then you kind of like see what happens. So you're having to take a lot of time to yourself and kind of figure things out on your own and do a lot of research and really push yourself to work like a ton of extra hours than what you would normally think you need to work. It's really a 24/7 thing. It never ends. And that's the same thing as being an athlete. Like, I mean, you're constantly, even though I was not good with the sleep part, but you're constantly having to worry about your nutrition, your sleep, your uh, muscle soreness and recovery, your strength, all of that. So, yeah, it's the same thing. You got to take care of yourself, push yourself, and hopefully it, it sticks and works out.
Yeah, so basically being the leader, kind of like of your company, were there any skills you kind of brought with you from being an athlete that you applied, or like you kind of like held your own employees to certain standards, or how did that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think like I always believe in doing things at your own time. Like I don't really believe in like having set hours of work for 8 hours or 9 hours. Like I always like to let them kind of see how they feel as long as they're getting their work done. You can kind of do it on your own time. If you need to do a 3 hour block and then go take a nap and work out and then go again for a couple more hours, you know, I'm always cool with that because I know that it's hard to, be on as far as thinking about things for an 8 hour long stint. So,
Or 12 hours.
I think it's
Or 12
flexible
hours.
as long as like, you have to hire people though that are also disciplined and want to work because the hardest thing is finding people that actually want to work. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm getting paid to do this," and they just do the bare minimum or they don't really do much at all and it shows. So I think the hardest thing is finding people that align with how you are mentally and really want to get things done and achieve things and, reach the next goal.
Yeah, finding employees that are passionate also about like the health and wellness and lifting and all that.
Definitely.
Um, And then
Definitely.
I also just want to ask because I mean, like, as a I guess being a student athlete, like a track athlete, you have your team there, or that you're running with and you're working with, but a lot of times, like maybe we had mentors that we looked up to, people that we saw that were training harder. How does that like kind of translate with like you being an entrepreneur? Is there anybody that like you use as a mentor, or anybody that you kind of like inspire you use as inspiration for doing your own stuff?
Yeah. So with the first personal training job that I had, I was super lucky that they were all very successful people. Like they were all millionaires, billionaires, and literally just high level people. So when you're spending an hour with them 3 days a week or even twice a week, you're talking about so many things. So even just having them to train and just to have conversations with, that helped more than anything. Like they were all
Hmm.
mentors, I could say, because I would ask, they're all in different, fields, but so successful and all different age ranges. I mean, mostly from like, I would say 35 to 65 was like the
Wow.
range.
Oh wow,
Um,
nice.
but I mean, just spending time with them year after year, and there was new people coming in, and my boss at that time made us go to all these crazy events. Like, I mean, the Boca Resort, this event, the diamond jewelry place at this event, and we would have to like give our business cards out and pitch ourselves. So we would have to like go up and really just like talk to people and be like, "Hey, do you want to train with me?" And you have to sell these packages. Like, it was a lot of sales within
Yeah,
it.
so you got
So we
very
were
good
like
at selling
pushed.
yourself,
Sales is
essentially.
not easy.
Yeah, and then just talking to high level people because it was like
Wow. Yeah.
you know, those are the people that do it. So I would say with that, yeah, all of my clients that I trained were like basic mentors to me. So that was good.
And you find that kind of easy now and today, like with what you're doing, like just kind of talking to people, so like it's just very second nature to you at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I love talking to people, but you still have to put yourself out there a lot. Like, I mean, I've never been afraid to like pick up the phone or like do research on like, if I want to do this thing, who do I need to contact and call? And I have like no problem with being super persistent with them and being like, "Hey, I want to meet up with you and grab a coffee," or who would I, like getting on the phone. And so that's really helped too, because I've just never been afraid to do that because I don't, what do you have to lose?
Very
They can think
true.
That's
I'm
a good
crazy,
trait to
but
have.
you might get an outcome out of it. So a lot of
Yeah.
things that I've done personally with like building not even the fitness stuff, like modeling and acting and working with different brands and stuff like that has been like picking up the phone, reaching out and calling them. And something
Awesome.
happens. So that's been good. That's been really helpful.
So kind of bringing it back just a little bit to when you graduated from FAU, you're no longer, you know, a college athlete, now you're a former college athlete. Did you struggle with any mental battles, kind of that title of being a D1 athlete, and then now you're kind of graduated, trying to figure out what you want to do with your life?
Yeah, that's hard, right? Because you have a label for so long as like really since you're a kid as like, oh, she's the or he's the athlete, whatever.
Yeah.
People know you as that. So it is hard to detach from that a lot. But I think like you see everyone else going on their own path. Some people became pros in their sport and they continued on. That was kind of hard. I would compare myself to those people a little bit because I'm like, should I have stayed in it longer? And like that was a little bit tough at first, but then like as time goes on, you realize like what you're doing is completely different or just it might you might even be comparing if like their life looks cooler than mine or whatever, but
Yeah.
then as time goes on you realize like you shouldn't do that because it's a completely different thing that you're focused on. But it was hard to kind of detach from that, but I think just over time you realize that you still are an athlete in your own way. You're just not competing on like a specific team, but you're still working out and trying to progress at different things. I was still running a couple of races. I did like bikini competitions and all of that, that helped feel like I was training for something. And then yeah, just as time passed, it didn't really matter anymore.
So you kind of like refocused, would you say, like the athlete mindset into like you change your passion and use that athlete mindset into your new passions with your business, your entrepreneurship, modeling, acting, all that?
Yes, exactly. I think you just shift it. I think you just, you know, put your energy and intention somewhere else, and then you don't even think about the other thing anymore. Like you
Okay.
miss it, but you can still do it. You can still play your
Yeah.
sports. It's not like
I
you can't do
and
it. So
so like I mean I know you like you it was like more performance based in like college, right? You like had to make sure you performed as a like with your current job just being at fitness and kind of looking the part because you said it's just constantly like 24/7, you kind of just are busy or you're modeling. Do you feel like the same type of performance pressure as there is like maybe an image pressure with what you're doing now, or do you feel like that just it's very easy for you since you're passionate about working out?
the image pressure thing, I could say maybe a little bit. Yeah,
Hmm.
with like the modeling stuff, or even for your clients, if they're like, I want to look up to you because you look like this.
Right, right,
There's a
right.
little bit of pressure if you're like, I don't want to like gain weight or stop, especially as a female. You're like, I don't want to go too far off of how I'm supposed to look, quote
That's
unquote.
what I mean.
But
I could see that being a little bit of pressure there. Like I want to eat this cheeseburger, but hey, I don't know. I'm coaching somebody tomorrow. Like I want them to like I don't know. I could see that being like
Yeah,
a little
I got a sweet tooth. It's
some
not good.
slight pressure there. I don't know, but interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
performance pressure, no. I mean, maybe with races, like I run 5Ks and stuff now, and I don't want to get last place. I'm like, that's embarrassing. So I do try to like train really hard for that because I'm like, okay, I
You
gotta
got
do
the
kind of
60-year-old
decently.
grandma finishing before you. You're like, man,
Like,
how did Granny pass the finish line before?
or they're
Yeah,
like,
that wouldn't be a good look.
Annie, we didn't see you post your 5K time on Instagram, right? Yeah, that would not be good.
Uh, I didn't track it.
Oh, my watch ran out of
Yeah, my
battery.
watch died. Okay.
Yeah, not sure what happened. But
Uh,
physical pressure, yeah, yeah, a little bit.
okay, interesting, interesting. And then also I guess just kind of like I want to know, I guess, like what you, as a former athlete, would tell, like, other athletes going through it or inspiring collegiate athletes, what you would tell them, like, with, going through college and then transitioning into like their professional careers. Is there any advice you would give them to just make that a smoother transition for themselves?
Yeah, I think actually I'm gonna use Chat GPT as an example because we actually have that now. But I didn't
What's
back
your
then.
favorite thing?
But what
I
I
love
would
ChatGPT.
it's literally it's the best thing ever. But what I would say, what really has helped me is I think a lot of us are unsure of what to do next. We're like, okay, we're good at sports and we're an athlete, we're good at that. But I think making a list and writing down, okay, like what first of all, what are you passionate about that could potentially make money? That's the first thing. And like how can I pivot what I'm already doing into a career if you want to do that? So like making a list of like yourself in the middle, and then you have all these little dots of like, okay, these are the industries that I like, these are the different professions that would interest me. And you go on ChatGPT and you're like, what does a day of this person look like? Or how much do they make? And you kind of like literally make a list of maybe you have 10 things that you might want to do. But even just like maybe you go research, okay, what's this person doing in this field? And you look at their life and what they put out, and you kind of like narrow it down into, do I see myself doing these certain things? And then I would say put yourself into those things and try it for like 6 months and see how you actually do with it. Are you good at it? Can you get better? Do you like it? Can it make money? All those things. And that's really the only way to do it, because you don't know. Like I
There's
dove
no
into
way
so
to
many
know.
different
Yeah.
industries.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
there's no way to know, and like sometimes you really can't get into, shadowing a doctor or some sort of program without.
Unless you do what Annie does and just straight up call them and be relentless.
I mean, you could do that. You could chat
You
GPT.
literally could shadow them. You could be like, hey, this is a weird request. Can I shadow you for like 20 minutes? You don't have to do
Yeah, I
anything,
mean,
but
all right,
or
well,
maybe
hey,
someone knows someone, like
no, but I'm saying like I don't know, you can't like I don't know practice as this or that. So sometimes I think the chat
Yeah.
GPT is a great suggestion because yeah, there's just some things you can't necessarily get into, but it's a good like way to see what that job's about. I like that, yeah.
you mean like if you're a lawyer or you're going to be a doctor,
Yeah,
like
like
just
yeah.
Can't walk into the operating room and
What does performance surgery look like? I mean, I don't know.
it's always a way. Or maybe you could be in that industry without being like the doctor, but there's other things that maybe you could do within that field that don't take as much schooling and requirements, and you could still. That's what I mean. Like, kind of like, what is your background? What are you good at? And what can you do
yeah.
in that field that you maybe want to be in? That's not, or go back to school. I don't know. I mean, I hate to
That's
say that.
sometimes I feel like some athletes, they really don't know who they are without their sport.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's
no,
why a lot of mental health issues happen. I wouldn't say happen because I can't say for a fact, but it's just kind of like what I kind of perceive, that a lot of them kind of like, struggle mentally when they leave because they're like, okay, I was this
yeah,
person for 20 years of my life. All I know is soccer, track and field running, whatever sport it may be. And now you graduate, you didn't make it pro. What do you do?
no, well, who are you
Yeah,
actually?
who am I?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's tough.
yeah, I think everyone kind of struggles with it, and yeah, hopefully we can, with this podcast, I don't know, help people out, let them know they're not alone on that.
Yeah.
So everyone's kind of going
Yeah.
through it too. So yeah.
And Annie, if there was anything you'd like to add, that's something that we didn't ask you today that you would like to inform the viewers about, is there anything at all?
I think just going back to that, like your passion doesn't have to be your business. If you're relating it, like you could be passionate about something and it doesn't need to be your business. You can have business and career, and then you can have hobbies that you're passionate about, and your business, and that can fund your hobbies. So you don't always have to make it one. So that's what I mean. Like, kind of figure out what you like and what you're passionate about, but maybe separate it a little bit if you can. And just don't ever stop. There's always ways to pivot and ask people questions and, make things happen that you never thought you would be able to.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, Annie, for coming out.
Oh, thank you.
We appreciate it, and yeah, we every Tuesday we're dropping episodes. So
Yeah, you can catch us on YouTube, Spotify. We're dropping episodes Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Thanks, Annie. This is the Between the Fields podcast.
Thank you.
All right.
See you guys.